Welcome to the channel everybody, it's Usernamekate here, and today I am on the launch of Honda's 2025 model year NT1100. Now, there are three variants of the NT1100. Firstly, we have the manual transmission, which retails at £12,679. Then we have the DCT version, which is £1,000 more, retailing at £13,679. And then finally, we have the DCT electronic suspension model, which is new for 2025 and comes in at £14,099. I'm accompanied today by some of the most esteemed motor journalists in the industry, and between them they've got thousands of miles under their belts on the earlier NT1100 model, as well as DCT bikes in general. I'm a little bit of an odd one out. I haven't ridden the earlier NT1100 at all. I hadn't even sat on it up until today, and I don't really have much experience with DCT either, bar the odd go around Spain for a holiday with Canary Motorcycle Tours. That was an NC750. So I'm hoping today that I can deliver this review to you from the perspective of newborn eyes. So buckle up, don't go anywhere, I'll play the intro and then we'll crack on. Right, so I've just plonked it into drive. I've just hit the D and the S button. We've got a touchscreen dash, look at that, we're in drive, okay. And yeah, we've got no clutch. Wow, what a pleasure. Today I'm on Honda's NT1100. I have the wonderful and crazy Mossy in front. As you can see, the boy is wild. Oh, Mossy's got panniers. I've got panniers and a top box, which is awesome because I'm free. I don't have to wear a rucksack today. Oh yes. So I'm just getting to grips with how it rides, how it handles, how it flows. It's obviously a bit more of a bigger girl than I'm used to riding. As the day goes on, I want to talk to you more in depth about how the DCT feels, how that electronic suspension feels, all that good stuff. But for the moment, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the Billy basics of this bike. What's new for 2025? Because there is lots of things that are new about it and deserve to be spoken about. So one of the first things to mention is the 6-axis IMU. Got one of those, so the bike is more intelligent. It goes off these three words that I can't quite remember at the minute, so I'll flag them up on the screen now. Now, one of the things that's so cool about the IMU, like on the manual transmission, of course, it's going to help with cornering ABS, it's going to help with, you know, lean sensitive, Honda selectable torque control, all that jazz, anti-wheelie, rear lift control. I think it identifies as a Fireblade with all these electronic upgrades. But one of the special things about it is, with the DCT model, the IMU really helps it because the bike knows what it's doing at all times. Well, more importantly, what you're doing at all times. So if the bike knows what you're doing at all times, whether you're banked over, how hard you're hitting the gas, a great thing about that is it's going to assess when's the best time to change gear. So no kind of changing up when you're mid-hairpin because the bike doesn't understand what position it's in and stuff like that. I have very, very limited experience with DCT, and I first tried it in Gran Canaria with Canary Motorcycle Tours. I rode their NC750, and I found myself using the flappy paddles before hairpins because I didn't want it to decide when I change gear. So a 6-axis IMU is a very, very welcomed addition to the NT1100. The new Africa Twin twin has got it, and there's been a lot of positive feedback about the new edition. Another thing that's new about this bike is obviously that electronic suspension. Now Honda call it, oh well, Honda don't call it this, Showa call it this. It's Showa's era electronically equipped something. I just went to change gear with my foot and there was no changing of gear. That's hilarious. What is it? Electronically equipped reactive suspension? No, I don't think it's reactive. Whatever the word is, I'll put it in if it's wrong. That's what we like. Twisty sign. Okay, let's go. It's time to do some flowing. Oh yes. Oh. Yeah, we're in the D, which is drive, but maybe it's docile. Right, we'll put it in sport. Let's see about what this mode is like. Oh, right, instantly we've popped it in sport, the DCT. This is feeling fruitier already. It feels a bit more keen. Oh, sport mode, yes! This is the one, or sport DCT should I say. I can understand how D would be very, very economical, but yeah, we want a bit more oomph from our engine. So look, we'd be in 6th gear by now in D mode. It held on to 2, but with gusto. Ooh! Okay, it's got some poke in sport. I see ya, I feel ya. Oh, a nice sweepy, we love it, we love it. Other things that are different, we've got a completely new face on this. We've got sharper, more, I don't know, sportier vibes to it. We've got integrated indicators and into the fairing. It's always a treat following Man Cave Moto. Look at him go, what a gangster. Yeah, look at all that dirt. That's not good, is it? Oh no. Oh, it's very smooth riding, super comfy. Look at all this. We've got a new screen which is now operational with one hand. Used to be a two-hand job before, but now you can just do it with one hand, which is good. I'll stick in some demonstration footage of that. Let's catch old Man Cave up. Might be tricky because he's on a flyer today. He's giving it some berries. Good lad. So I've got a feeling these guys are using the flappy paddles because they're getting a bit more power out of it on the in the gears. But for now we'll just try and cling on in the mode that we're in. Actually, I've not even looked. I'm in urban. I'm not even in tour mode. Tour mode's the one with full power. Right, I need to get that changed, but it's hard when you're concentrating on not falling off. So, as Mossett is so kindly demonstrating there, we have the emergency braking system, so when it senses a real hard brake, it flashes. Which is good. Moss is riding this like it is a Fireblade. What a guy. I do wish I was in tour mode though. I really, really do wish. did. I've got a top box. There's not many of us that have got a top box yet. Here I am, strutting around like a peacock with one. And I feel light and breezy because my rucksack is in my top box. Nice and tight. It's a forever bend. Oh yes! Get in! Really wish I could like have a look at where the mode is. I'll have to... Yeah, I can see cruise control on the right hand switch gear. That's good. We've got cruise control, we've got heated grips as standard on this, we've got centre stand as standard. Helmet friend! Okay, so we've just stopped off at a cafe and it's time to get ripping and roaring again. So, a few other things that I didn't mention that were new that are quite important to mention. We've got revised mudguards front and rear, just for better weather protection against the elements, especially when you're in places like the UK and it's just constant rain. Okay, I think I'm up top with the wild boys, so let's try and put this NT1100 through some wild boy behaviour. I've changed the mode, I've figured it out, it's actually not that difficult. Just press the up button on the switchgear next to the star, it rotates through, so now I've got it in tour mode, which is full power mode. So, as we know, we've got that 1084cc Africa twin engine. In this, it produces 100.6 brake horsepower at 7,500 revs, and it produces 112 newton meters of torque at 5,500 revs. The bike is up with 7% more torque than the previous model, which is pretty good. And you know what? Parallel twin, 270-degree crank, and it makes some noises in a good way. Oh, these roads are ace! So we've got it in DCT Sport 2. Apparently at lunchtime the hot news was everybody prefers Sport 2 over 3. I've got to stick with helmet twin, haven't I? But it shows that the NT can actually put a decent shift in. It can move when it wants to, which is quite nice. It's very reciprocative to bumps. We've got that electronic suspension now in tour mode, it's in its firmest mode, but the bike is like processing damping inputs at 15 milliseconds, so it's pretty mental. Self-cancelling indicators, that's what we've got. But no, so far for a big comfy armchair, it's handling everything alright, isn't it? Super comfortable. Like even the rear seat unit's been changed for comfort. The pillion seat is now wider. Oh, DCT then dropped down the box so seamlessly. Didn't upset the bike at all. See, it just dropped again then. Did not upset it. This is some magic. Yeah, when you can see it's pretty clear, it's fine to use it all. Wow, we're climbing. Brakes are good. Do the job. As with any big touring bike, you know, you don't get the insane front end feel that you do with other bikes like naked bikes or sport bikes and stuff like that, but it's not doing too bad. it's just doing it as you'd expect from like a sports tour or something quite big, something quite boaty. I kind of get the same feeling with the Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX, like in terms of handling input and steering input, as well as like with the big BMW R1250 RTs. So it isn't like a negative, it's just a trait to be aware of when you do ride like the more sports toury type bikes. But I tell you what, it's kind of nice not to have to think about gear changes and clutch. Like, my left hand is easy breezy beautiful. Off we go. Woohoo! Oh yes. Oh, the NT is putting a shift in. It's it can get a hustle on if you're scared to, like, you know, you don't want to like old manification yourself. Oh my god, I'm gonna get cancelled for that. You know what I'm saying? Like the big comfy old Tourers, you don't associate them with the like the epitome of youth, do you? But as launches demonstrate, when you get on a group with a load of crazy peoples, you know, it shows that it's actually alright in giving it a bit of a go. Right everybody, so the bike that I'm on today actually has the Voyage pack on it. So we've got some that don't have top boxes, but mine is fully spec'd and loaded up with that Voyager pack. Now on it you get a 50 litre top box, you get comfort seats for rider and pillion, you get a passenger cushion which matches the seats on the top box, you get passenger comfort steps, you get a top box inner bag, you get a 4.5 litre tank bag, and you get fog lights as well. Now I don't know what the price of that is, so I'm going to pop it on the screen now, but that is what you get for your cash money honey. Right guys, to show you inside the panniers, let's have a gander. So because this is the Voyager kit, you've got the inner bags as well, which you can choose to use them if you want. If you don't, that's completely up to you. The panniers are bigger this year, so we have more volume. I'll insert the literage here with overall volume in the panniers. But you can actually fit a full face helmet in the panniers, as I will insert a clip now from the presentation where I saw the helmet inside the pannier. So you have that, then you close it, you lock it. We have a 12 volt here, and we also have on this side a USB. It's a normal USB-A, not a USB-C or anything like that. Okay, right, well we've done a load of tracking shots, load of beautiful drone shots, gorgeous footage, and now we are back on the road again. But so far, riding this in Sport 2 DCT mode is lovely. It's just changing gear when it needs to change. Like we're in second now. Now we've just gone into first. It's just doing it so nice. So we're up second, it's holding onto it, third, it's holding onto that as we take it round this big forever bend. It went up to fourth then, we're braking, even though we're braking it's still in fourth. You know, it's not up and down the box like a yo-yo, but it's doing it when it needs to do it. So the different modes have different settings, and I could try and explain it to you, but instead I'm just going to throw up a chart on the screen which will tell you everything you need to know about the different levels and the different modes, when it's in tour, when it's in urban, when it's in rain, and you know what, obviously user 1 and 2 are customizable, but I'll pop a graph or a chart on the screen, a table should I say, that I personally think is really, really interesting. Some of the lads with bigger feet than I have mentioned that their toes have been catching on the floor a little bit sometimes. But that is not an issue for me and my size 4s. So, I'm 5'4" with a 29-inch inside leg measurement, or 162 centimetres with a 73.66 centimetre inside leg measurement. And this is what it looks like for me to sit on this bike. As you just saw then, I've got a flat foot if I scotch my bum off a little bit to the side. I tell you what, this Africa Twin engine pulls like a peach. I know you get a lot of people and they say the 100 brake horsepower isn't enough, like given its competitors and stuff like that, but I think it is. It's an awesome engine actually, and I don't know what the fuel stats are like with this, but I bet it's a very frugal engine. Probably not riding them how we've been riding them today, but if you ride them a bit more chill, I can imagine they're pretty good on fuel. Massive tank as well, 20 litres, 0.4, because the 0.4 counts. Right everybody, well, we have just got in off a mammoth ride on Honda's 2025 NT1100. Now the bikes, as you know, that we've been riding today specifically are the DCT with the electronic suspension, and what an absolute hoot it's been today. I thought with it being an NT1100, a nice sports tourer, I thought it would be a bit more of a, you know, slower pace today, but as happens when you go on Spanish launches, things do sometimes go a little bit quicker than you're expecting. Not a bad thing, because I do like it occasionally. But what did surprise me was how capable this thing is when you do want to push on a little bit. It just laps it up, it doesn't get bent out of shape. It's actually quite a composed and decent road bike when you are chuffing on a little bit. Obviously we've done a bit of town work today as well, and it's just been really, really good. Now, I could yap to you guys for hours, but I'm very conscious we have a 20 to 30 minute YouTube video, so I'm going to hit you with some quick fire pros and cons that I have on this bike. Firstly, the biggest pro for me has been comfort. Now, I know that I've had the fancy pants NT1100 today with the Voyage kit, and it has that comfort seat on. I mean, I threw my leg over Man Cave Moto's bike, which didn't have that seat, and I thought it was pretty comfy, even though I didn't ride with it. But the comfort seat lives up to its name. It's lovely. I feel like I could ride for miles and miles and hours on that seat. So comfort, definitely. The riding position, you're large and in charge, you're upright, you can see everything that's going on. And yeah, I think Honda have nailed it when it comes to comfort. Another massive pro for me is the inclusion or introduction of the IMU, because its integration with the DCT system has really seriously impressed me today. Obviously on these kind of launches we're getting the sexy B-roll footage, and it involves a lot of, you know, turning round on really kind of narrow roads, and, you know, just having to be good with the throttle. And sometimes with DCT it's a bit of a worry, you know, when you wind the throttle on, that it might just kind of lunge you. I had none of those worries today. The throttle is beautiful when you're setting off from slow. It's great when you're on full lock and you're winding it on just gently to get round. Honestly, the IMU, the inclusion of that is brilliant. I mean, I last rode a DCT bike last year in the Canary Islands. It was an NC750, and I really felt like I had to set myself up before hairpins by using the flappy paddles, dropping myself down into first before I took on the hairpin, because I found that kind of changed gear on me when I didn't really want it to. But with this, the IMU, it knows exactly what position the bike's in, and it won't put you in any sketchy situations. And I just found it really, really confidence inspiring on those kind of tight, technical, more twisty bits. So yeah, the inclusion of the IMU, excellent. Another pro with this new electronic suspension, the levels of adjustment on this thing are wild. You can go crazy. So we have 5 modes. We have Tour, Urban, Rain, and then we have 2 users. And with the Tour, the suspension is set in the firmest. Then with Urban, it's a bit softer, so it's medium, and then in Rain, it's super soft. And you do really feel the difference. Now, I've been mainly riding in Tour today, so it's been a bit firmer, and it's been just eating up the bumps without being jarring. In fact, I would personally say maybe that the hard is a little bit more on the softer side than I'd expect, but it's not a complaint because it does really make it comfortable, and it's not a out and out sports bike or naked bike, so you don't kind of want hard to be like super hard. So I think it's hard enough for the type of bike it is. And also levels of preload, you can adjust it for one rider with pillion, one rider with luggage, one rider with pillion and luggage, and then you've got a further 24 levels of adjustability on the preload if you haven't quite found what you want. So yeah, the suspension and the adjustability is a massive pro for me. Another thing, this bike weighs 249 kilograms in DCT trim with the electronic suspension, and on paper that sounds quite heavy. In reality, it's not actually been that bad because the seat height is relatively low. I find at 820mm, especially with that suspension, when you sit on it, it's just lovely, and I've had no issues kind of manoeuvring it. Say I'm just mooching through the UK, you know, we're not on any like mountains trying to turn around and stuff like that. It's just wonderful, it's blissful, it's accessible, I like it. I've not really struggled at all today, which is quite nice when you're on a launch and everything's going on and it's just one less thing to worry about, so that is definitely a pro. Right, moving on to some cons. If I'm going to be really brutal, it's got that Africa Twin switchgear. It's got the switchgear that's on the older NT1100. Nothing's really changed. I don't really gel with this switchgear at all. I find it a bit complicated. It doesn't have to be so complicated. Having said that, if you own this bike, then you're going to get used to it. You're going to understand it. You're actually going to take the time to know it. And I'm not in that position, so just from a first jumping on a bike, it isn't intuitive, but to be honest, you can live with that, especially when you do bond with the bike and understand the ins and outs and kind of how it works. Another con, now it's not a con for me, I don't really care to be honest, but I know there's a lot of you guys out there who complain that this isn't shaft driven. It's chain driven, and to be honest, I don't really mind that. I think if you're not even mechanically minded, it's not too big of a drama because you take it in your Honda dealership to get serviced. I'm sure they'll look at your chain. Just got to keep it clean and lube it. It's no big drama. But I know a lot of people do think, why is it not shaft drive? We wanted a shaft driven bike. You've got to consider if you're putting a shaft drive on this, it's going to weigh a lot more, and it's already kind of weighty on paper, and it's going to probably boost the price of the bike. And the retail price on this, in my opinion, is quite like moderate and like a humble price. And if you start doing things like shaft drive, it's going to be more expensive. So yeah, it is kind of just one of those things. Another thing which is a bit of a pro and a con, it uses Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is a great thing. Other manufacturers haven't cottoned on and they're not really doing it. So Honda's quite inventive in that realm. However, it is wired, so they haven't kind of got the Bluetooth to the bike yet. You do have to plug it into the USB, but it's a minor inconvenience, I guess. But if you mount your phone somehow, or you have the tank bag like I've had today, you could just plug it in, run a wire, and Bob's your uncle. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is literally just a quick first impressions review on this bike. I'm hoping to kind of nag Ian from Honda, the PR guy, and see if I can get one of these for the UK so I can actually test it out in real world scenarios. That'll be the dream. Right guys, what do you like most about this bike? Let me know in the comments below. Do you have a favourite colour? Do you have, I don't know, what would you get it in? Manual transmission? Would you go DCT, or would you go DCT electronic suspension? Tell me, I'm interested. Right guys, until the next time, please ride safe, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye!